Vertically integrated NFT adoption for universities and technology transfer. This is our next 10-minute talk, so please welcome Adam Small. He's the CEO and co-founder of IPA Assets Technology. Adam.
Thank you. Good afternoon. As he said, my name is Adam Small, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of IP Assets Technology. What I'm going to talk about is a vertically integrated approach to working with universities. So I know a lot of this session has been focused heavily on sports, and although that's a component of what our business does, I want to try to bridge outside of that a little bit and talk about the broader stakeholder asset mix of universities, which sports is included. So a little bit about myself before I get into this. Before I dove into blockchain, I was in the critical mineral space, specifically for lithium-ion batteries, and that's where I got my initial exposure to the tech transfer element of a university. I was named a 2018 Forbes 30 Under 30 in the energy category, and now today, our business is implementing this technology to art, sports collectibles, natural diamonds, carbon credits, basically anything that is an asset and a stakeholder. So with universities, what we've already done to date is we've worked with the University of Arizona to produce the first complete NIL, that's name, image, likeness program for student athletes, meaning we can serve every single student athlete at the school, not just the superstars. We've done things for University of Arizona, Arizona State, LSU, University of Texas, on individual athlete levels as well as entire programs. We've designed customized wallets and IPFS integration, if you're familiar with that, to actually create these digital assets and then white label them for universities. So, like I said, let's talk more about the university mix, not just sports. And so what I want you to take from this is a better understanding of what you might need to do or understand to go work with the university, such as working with their licensing and trademark departments, or their technology transfer departments, which sometimes they're two different departments altogether. Even though they both do licensing, one is focused on copyright, trademarks, the other one's focused on science, chemistry, things like that. Of course, you have your departments. You have colleges, you have athletic departments, which all have different interests, different aligned needs. They have different budgets, different payrolls, things like that. Of course, compliance and accounting in sports, especially in NCAA sports, you have to deal with NCAA. Therefore, they can't do everything a pro athlete would necessarily do. So you need to be very aware of the compliance issues or benefits that the student athletes have to adhere to, and of course, accounting. And then in some cases, these universities leverage third-party platforms. And these third parties can sometimes include their own headaches and issues that you have to deal with. So keeping in mind all 5 of these types of departments or groups that you might have to interact with to ultimately provide this turnkey NFT program or digital asset program. So what we've done is we've applied our complete tech stack, what I call an implementation suite, to this model I just described. We provide a non-custodial, no-code web wallet. This is kind of like a MetaMask, except you can build NFTs directly in it, drag and drop pictures, videos, documents, anything you'd like. We have our own enterprise-grade IPFS persistent pinning platform. We just got the patent allowance for our cold storage hardware device to keep all those digital assets nice and safe and not exposed to any third-party nefarious actors. We built our own marketplace, and we just submitted our own virtual reality gallery to the Meta platform. So we consider this a complete turnkey platform for a university or any sort of business to get into blockchain. They don't necessarily need to piece together all those pieces to get involved. You can come to us, and we can provide all these tools together. And it's through that experience that I realized that large organizations, especially universities, like something like this, especially in a new industry like digital assets that's very scary. There's new terms. It's difficult to navigate, but when it's a one-stop shop, you have a better chance at convincing these large organizations who have many departments who you ultimately have to convince. So again, this is a very short talk here, but I want to show you some key things to take away from this. I think if you want to address the university market for digital assets, you need to become very familiar with the university itself, public versus private. Public universities have a lot of different red tape to go through than private universities, so be sure you maximize for public and private universities. Identify the intellectual property. Even if you're not necessarily targeting intellectual property for the university, maybe you want to do tickets for the games, or you want to do some other asset within that whole stakeholder mix, be sure you understand the intellectual property, because at some point you're probably going to face it. Whether it's logos, copyright, full-on intellectual property itself, you're going to come across it. Determine the problem and the opportunity that the NFT provides. Don't just come up with something gimmicky or frivolous. What's the real value that you're providing this? Is it to benefit the student athlete? Is it to benefit the brand, the university itself? All 3? Ideally, all 3. ensure your business is well-formed or your team is well-formed and it is prepared to work with universities. Universities can oftentimes be a little judgmental to startups, so be sure you have the right kind of pitch, you have the right organization, you can actually work with these different departments and their accounting and all the red tape that they're going to make you jump through. Then, of course, address the lowest hanging fruit. We know that universities have a tremendous amount of assets available to them, but I believe that if you focus on the simplest asset right up front, you're going to have a much better chance at growing that concept across the university and hopefully adopting more assets into the entire mix. So I'm out of time, but if you have any questions, I'm not sure if that's actually allowed, but I would love to answer a question. Right there in the back. Yeah, definitely. So we launched this program about a year ago. So right as NIL went live, we were actually working with the university since 2018 for intellectual property. That was the initial thesis of the company, intellectual property assets. So when NIL became available, we said this is a great opportunity to hop on it. We presented them an opportunity to not only provide a NFT or a series of NFTs for every single student athlete, but help them eventually integrate their own web wallet, make their own storefront. These universities, they want their brand to be front and center. They want control. They want security. So what we're doing now is actually creating those platforms with them to be more integrated, including their own virtual reality gallery experience. So we're basically metaversing their Hall of Fame. We're creating new areas for departments to showcase patents and science and things like that. But it really all started with the athletics and NIL itself. Yeah, sir. Both. We started by just targeting student athletes because we knew that it was going to be difficult to convince universities. But now that we've got a couple student athletes, now we target whole universities. We want to work specifically with the athletic department, their compliance, all the stakeholders involved. However, we don't contract with the university. We contract directly with the student athletes still, but the program we create is very much understood and more or less vetted by the university up front. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Before this, I was actually a swimmer at the University of Arizona, and I missed the 2012 Olympic team. We're working with some swimmers, we're working with gymnastics athletes, we're working with some football players, baseball players. Any athlete, of course, could integrate into what we're doing. Bear down. It's a combination. So you can make an NFT for anybody, right? But if you want to use official copyright, logos, trademarks, the university has to be involved. So what we did is we became the middleman between the athlete and the university. We license the copyright. We license the trademark. We produce the product. We sell the product. And then we pay our respective royalty to the athlete directly. What do you mean bigger? Then that's great. We continue to work with them. We'll continue to make digital assets. We work with both professional and NCAA athletes, but for the university, all the collectibles that are made using their copyright, their trademarks, it's just like any other intellectual property that would license your business, like a chemical composition perhaps. You pay a royalty. So the university has ongoing benefit to us using their logo to create collectibles, even if that athlete is no longer a student athlete. Yes, sir. Actually, the marketing department they weren't even involved. It's compliance. It's accounting. It's the legal department that really cared at the end of the day. So that was the longest hurdle to get over was compliance. All right. Any other questions? Great. Well, appreciate your time, and meet me out back if you have any other questions. Thank you.